Greetings and welcome to another episode of Play Unplugged TV. I'm your host, Enrico Nardini for PlayUnplugged.com, and I'm here with Spencer Reeve from Cool Mini or Not. It's Gen Con Indy 2013. Oh my gosh, you guys, you have this gigantic booth that stretches from one end of the hall to the other, full of all this miniature goodness, thus the name. So many things going on. Let's start with Wrath of Kings, because it's up on Kickstarter right now. It's already made its goal many times over. Go.
All right, well, Wrath of Kings is our new miniature game. We already make a skirmish-sized game called Dark Age that we're very proud of. Mm-hmm. Dark Age is a sci-fi setting, and so with Wrath of Kings, we're kind of starting with skirmish games that we know we're good at and taking it into a high fantasy setting, but it's also fully scalable from skirmish level all the way up to full army. And what's cool about Wrath of Kings' scalability is the fact that it functions off of a chain of command system. Okay. So you have these leader units that allow you to activate multiple units at a time. So that leader unit can move a group of units at one time, and they get a combined, as long as they're the same trait, they get a combined special ability. So using them all at the same time with that leader gives them a special ability and allows you to kind of start with a large army, and then that as your leaders break up, your units break up, and you can create formations on the fly, which allows you to charge in headstrong, one large army pushing forward, and then create flanks as needed, which is really, really important to us because basically the game needs to be fluid, it needs to be quick and easy to play. And one of the ways we also handle that is that we have what we call a single roll system, which basically means you have one dice, you roll, and then it's a D10, and on that D10 chart you can see what happened with your roll on each card, right? So it's different for each unit, or I should say it's different for each model, but basically that one roll determines how the other person reacts. Either they take damage, it's a critical, or it's armor blocked, or they parry, depending on the unit. So the units all have special abilities on their D10 system. So it allows you to, again, very unique system for the game, and it makes the game very easy to pick up, very quick, but it's also a ton of strategy since you can kind of figure out how you want to build your formations on the fly, while also making it very fast to kill things, right? Because the game needs to be quick. That's the whole point. Really,
some very unique-looking miniatures for this game. Yeah. A very interesting vision of fantasy. Where did that come from? Like, was there a particular artist inspiration? Like, how did this whole thing get started?
So we knew we wanted to make a high fantasy game when we started working on it, and so what we decided to do was take high fantasy, but keep it human-centric, which basically means everybody in this game is a human, but at some point in time, they've given themselves over to some other power that has changed them. We also want to take other things that were really hot right now, really cool, and so we have a lot of steampunk elements as well. We have this big nightmare creature basically called a blood engine, and this blood engine is this big abomination-looking thing. He looks like he's fat and kind of bulky, but he actually has an engine strapped on his back that has two tailpipes sticking out of it, and he's powered by blood. He's really, really cool, and so is we have this the Scorza. They are these werewolf-looking guys. They actually have one that has a engine strapped to his back, a smokestack strapped to his back, and he's really, really cool too. So we like this steampunk element, this kind of dirty technology, as well as this high fantasy monster-esque models we have. And when you see the models, you can tell that they're really highly detailed. They're super beautiful, and they're just a ton of fun to look at. Regardless of playing the game, they're a ton of fun to look at, right? And paint. So we really are trying to appeal to the hobby group of miniatures as well as the gameplay group, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like already, that totally makes sense for your company. You have a very established painting community that's constantly submitting their work and having it being evaluated by the rest of the community. That's kind of the foundation of Cool Mini.
Yeah, so that's when we make our miniature games. When we make all of our games, we focus on miniatures, regardless of if it's going to be a miniature war game or if it's going to be a board game. The miniatures are top priority, because if we release a game that doesn't have miniatures in it, we're not living up to our name, right? So we try to make sure that we have cool miniatures that look great, and if you want to take the hobby side of it and paint them up, all of our games are very paint friendly, right? So even our board games. So yeah, we focus on having very good looking miniatures, and I think we're doing great so far. Like, I know, of course, the guy who works with the company is going to say that, but I really think that everything we put out, it just looks fantastic, right?
Absolutely. So we don't have a ton of time, but brief overview of the rest of things. So Wrath of Kings, obviously, that's the big new hotness, but there's some other things being released at the con. What are some other things you're excited about?
Well, one of the things that got released at the con, and I know you're trying to move on, but did launch the Kickstarter at the start of the convention, and I'm very excited about that. People should definitely check it out because Wrath of Kings has a very low buy-in point of $50, but you get 26 miniatures with it, plus a leader. So with a leader, so basically you get what you need to play the game for $50. For $100, you get you will get 2 sets, starter packs, plus a hardcover book basically for free. And if you do the if you do the $200 buy-in, you will get all 5 factions in the game, plus the hardcover rule book and a limited edition figure. And that's a great, for $200 you can try out every army and you can play with up to 5 guys. So it's a really good buy-in. The other things we got going,
even if you got somebody that you wanted to partner up with, if you got 4 friends together or whatever.
Exactly. The other things we have going on right now is we have a Rivet Wars, which is our game that's coming out by the end of this year. It is made by Ted Terranova, and it features a lot of his artwork and his miniatures that he basically designed. It's beautiful. They're like kind of chibi-looking guys with machine guns. It's a fast-paced RTS game that's really easy to learn, very fun, but it has a bunch of really neat strategy things based on priority and stuff like that. We released today Zombicide Season 2, which is Prison Outbreak, as well as Toxicity Mall, the expansion that works with both games. Those games have different style zombies that makes the game harder to play, add another level of depth and strategy to it. We also have Dark Age, our flagship title, and Chaos Ball. Chaos Ball is our sports fantasy game, which should be out Q1 of next year, and it is a kind of really pop culture fantasy game that has these really fun-looking models and is really fast, easy to learn, and is up to 4 players, which is kind of interesting for a sports game because the field is a square, right? So you kind of just crash into the middle, and it's brutal. You're killing each other, you're destroying each other. It's just a ton of fun. And then we have our Soda Pop stuff like Super Dungeon Explorer and Relic Knights here as well. So, and then we've been doing the Dark Age stuff, which we had our Immortals tournament, which if you play miniature gaming and you're not playing Dark Age, you should, because our Immortals tournament allows you to, if you win it, you get to put yourself in the game and design your own character and your own miniature.
That's awesome. That's been a popular thing with a lot of games. I'm seeing more and more, like, especially deck building games, things like that. People are doing the thing where they are constantly, that's like one of those things, like adding. I think it's awesome it's such an awesome opportunity for the people who are really committed to the game and really support your product. I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do is that Cool Mini fans, we don't want them to feel like they're ever a customer. We want them to feel like they're part of the business. That's why we do the Kickstarter, to see who's interested and to get them involved in how the game is made, and then also to keep that contact close and friendly. And so stuff like the Dark Age Immortals tournament and our Kickstarters, which allow us to talk directly to the customers who are buying the game, who are showing us how invested they are in the company. It allows us to keep kind of a very friendly and community-based focus, because we started as a community site. So we want to continue being a community-based company, right?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, Spencer, thank you so much for spending some time with Play Unplugged.
Thank you so much.
Now, Spencer, just in case, once again, Cool Mini, super popular. You've got tons of people visiting that site every day. But just in case, if somebody doesn't know where to go to check this stuff out, where would you send them?
I would say you can check out coolminiornot.com, and in the next few days to maybe a few weeks, we're going to have a redesigned CMON.com site as well.
Sounds awesome. We're also on the internet. Make sure you check us out at playunplugged.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Leave a little comment down there below because we love that. And we will see you next time.